This episode of Lobbing Scorchers is sponsored by Full Pull Wines, a Seattle-based cellar. Not only are they a local company, but they've been supporting independent Seattle soccer media since 2011 and are run by Sounders fans. They offer the best boutique wines in the world to members of their mailing list with special focus on their home, the Pacific Northwest. Their model is simple. 1, they email compelling offers. 2, you request bottles that sound appealing. 3, your wine arrives at their Soto warehouse and is ready for pickup or shipping. Their Soto tasting room is also open to the public. If you're interested in joining their mailing list or learning more about them, visit fullpullwines.com.
A lot was made about my decision, obviously, and I always maintain that I'm so happy and thankful for the career that I've had. I mean, all of our group games are exciting. I think if I had to choose one, PSG is going to be incredible.
We feel like we've seen a new Jordan. We called it Angry Jordan.
I agreed with it. I'm like, I feel like I have a different kind of energy on the field. I feel like playing with a bit of anger on the field has also helped me get, play a little bit better. So that might be a new thing moving forward.
What's going on, everybody? We are joined here today with the one, the only Jordan Morris, our number 9, the number 9 that we've always wanted here at Lobbing Scorchers. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to chat a lot more about some kind of off the field stuff today, and then maybe dive in a little bit into some on the field stuff. But starting off, how are you doing? How have the past few weeks of off season been treating you?
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously disappointing end of the year. It's always hard to be, that close to hosting a final and, all the effort you put in all year to come up short like that. So bittersweet for sure. It's good to spend some time with the family and rest the body a bit. But I know, all the guys were super disappointed after that game and watching the final, wishing we were playing in it. So it was a tough end of the year, but I'm proud of the group for what we did accomplish this year.
Yeah, we were out there in LA as well, and we were honestly really proud of that game as well. Thought that came down to one little thing, and sometimes that's how soccer goes, and totally understand that being disappointing. But let's jump into some of the off the field stuff. Starting with, we're here to talk about type 1 diabetes, and Dexcom is helping us connect here. So why don't you start, for those who may not be familiar with type 1 diabetes, kind of share just a little bit about it and a little bit how you manage that in your regular life?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, before I was diagnosed, I didn't know what type 1 was. I was diagnosed when I was 9 years old. There's no family history, nothing in my family. So it definitely was a shock to me, and kind of had to learn and kind of still learning as I go. But like I said, I was diagnosed at 9. Completely changed my life. Have to make sure every day that my blood sugar is in the right spot. Have to count the carbs that I'm eating in my food and give myself the right amount of insulin to make sure that my blood glucose and my levels stay in the right range. So it's I always say the hardest part about type 1 is it's a 24/7 job. It never stops. I'm waking up in the middle of the night to my blood sugar being high and low. My wife, hears the alarms in the middle of the night as well. So it's a family affair. It's a 24/7 job, but I'm lucky and grateful to be working with a company like Dexcom. When I was growing up, I would have to do finger pokes all the time to check what my blood glucose level was. I would probably do 10 to 15 finger pokes a day. Now I wear a Dexcom G7. It's a continuous glucose monitor. It all reads directly to my phone, which is awesome. And, it helps me on and off the field to perform at my best and be, the best dad, the best partner that I can be, because, I'm able to look at my phone every 5 or so minutes and make small adjustments and, keep my blood glucose in the right spot. So the technology that's out there today is awesome, but it still definitely provides its challenges living with type 1.
I'm sure it's a little easier when you're probably still up in the middle of the night right now with a newborn. Do you want to talk a little bit about your newborn Theo and maybe how that played into the season this year?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it on another podcast. Luckily, he's sleeping through the night right now, which is
That's
great.
good.
We're very lucky with that, because those days were rough. But my last 2 seasons, he was born last October. He's about 15 months now. So, but my last 2 seasons, I think were, in my opinion, maybe my best seasons as a professional. And I said this on another podcast. I don't think that's a coincidence. I've played with a lot more freedom since becoming a dad. I really realized what's truly important in life, and that's him. And for me, that's being the best dad that I can be, raising him in the right way. And I come home from a tough game. I came home from that loss in LA, and he ran up to me and smiled and gave me a big hug, and just thought of me as dad rather than a Sounders player, than a soccer player, and didn't care whether we won or lost. So coming home to that, understanding again, like I said, kind of what's really really important in life, it's helped me play with a different freedom on the field. And I think that's part of the reason why I've had the success that I've had over the last couple of years. So I'm so grateful for him. He's been such a blessing in my wife and I's life.
Yeah, we talk briefly about it on the podcast this season. We feel like we've seen a new Jordan. We called it Angry Jordan. Maybe that's not the perfect description for it, but more driven, different attitude on the field. And I'm sure
Yeah,
that you're getting that Papa Bear energy. I don't know.
I feel that for sure. I feel that. So random. I think I saw that clip today of you guys talking about
Oh,
that.
really?
I hadn't seen it before. I'm pretty off social media, but I saw
That's a
that right
good
there.
thing.
No, I agreed with it. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I have a different kind of energy on the field. But another reason, obviously on the field, want to keep my blood glucose in the right spot. If it's off a little bit, I'm not playing well. But in my life at home, when it's off a little bit, you can kind of have these irritable moments, or these moments if it's too low where you're just not feeling yourself. And so for me, having a Dexcom, wearing that every day, being able to keep my blood glucose in the right spot, for me, it's the most important aspect of it, is helping me be a good dad. So I've realized how important this technology is, on the field, of course, but off the field for me as well.
Yeah, Angry Jordan on the pitch and Happy Jordan at
I'm
home,
happy. Yeah,
taking care of
exactly.
everything. There
Exactly.
we
I feel
go.
like playing with a bit of anger on the field has also helped me play a little bit better. So that might be a
Yeah.
new thing moving forward.
I love that. Angry
Yeah,
Jordan. Put it on the back of the jersey there.
love it.
Your dad, obviously a doctor, very well known to the Sounders family.
Yeah,
And that process when you're younger, I'm sure that it could be a scary thing for any kind of family.
for sure.
Maybe talk about what that was like when you were younger, and then just kind of as you moved through your life, that support from your family, how important that was.
Yeah, I've said it before. I wouldn't be here without the support of my family, without the support of my wife. I think it was new for all of us when I was diagnosed. Like I said, there was no family history, but yeah, having my dad, be a doctor. My mom is a nurse, and so the support and knowledge that they had to help me kind of get through those early moments. And even still, my dad retired last year. He wasn't on the sideline with us this year, but when I was in the locker room, when he was still the team doc, he would come up to me before the game when I was checking my numbers, with my Dexcom, and he would be, giving me advice still when I was 25, 26 years old. I think having that support system is so important with type 1. When I was growing up, I kind of made little games of it with my friends. Whoever could, guess closest to my levels, I'd give them some fruit snacks or something like that. So you try to bring people in. Having that support system is so important. And, I part of the reason that, I started this foundation for kids living with type 1 is just to let them know that it's not going to hold them back from accomplishing their goals, and realizing that with the right support, with the right technology, they can absolutely go out there and accomplish anything that they want to accomplish. So I'm super blessed to have had the family that, still have the family that I have, and the support system that I have, because it is challenging at times, and I don't think I would have, would be where I am without my family. So I'm grateful for all their support.
Yeah, it's a unique situation, but also not super unique. There's plenty of people who are going through the same thing as you, and I think that it's one of my favorite things. At least when I'm on the sidelines, I do a lot of photo stuff, so I see all these little interactions. But post game, bringing kids off, talking with them after the games, talking with people. I mean, you can talk more about the Jordan Morris Foundation and how that all plays into it, but how important are those, little post game moments for you? Because it seems like even after a tough loss, I see you out there, spending the time with people and making sure that they feel seen and heard and understood that like this is something that I experienced and it doesn't have to be super scary.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the programs that we have through the foundation. It's called the Playmaker program. It's been awesome. We started off just after home games, meeting with a T1D kid and their families, and we extended it to away games over the last couple of years, which has been so cool to meet kids from across the country. And what it really came down to was obviously giving them an awesome day at the having a fun day at the game and giving them a jersey after the game. But when I was growing up, I had these athletes that I looked up to. I always knew I wanted to be a professional athlete. So I had these diabetic athletes that I'd look up to and kind of say, if they can do it, why can't I? But I was never able to ask them questions or hear their story or just kind of learn from them. And so when I started this foundation, there's so many bigger, better, organizations out there that are trying to find cures or things like that. Our whole purpose is just trying to help these kids. What we say is educate, inspire, and support kids living with type 1 diabetes. And it's really just outreach to these kids, answering their questions, hearing their stories, telling my story, and letting them know that it's not going to hold them back from accomplishing what they want to accomplish. Because I know as a kid how important that would have been for me to be able to actually speak and talk to someone with type 1 instead of just kind of looking out there in the world and finding someone and gaining inspiration like that, which helped me a ton. But I know being able to actually speak with someone and have my questions answered would have been awesome. So we've been able to do that for kids for a few years now, and it's been so much fun.
Yeah, well, let's jump into those three core tenets. I think that could be fun to
Yeah.
talk about. Educate. Like, you can educate us, a little bit on one what the foundation does, but like what people like me who don't have any experience with this first time should know to be helpful with supporting this and to look for.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like a lot of the education side of the foundation is just everyone's a little bit different with type 1, and I always say this, but it's stems around a lot of the questions that I get is around like my game day routine and how my glucose levels are affected when I'm out playing. And so a lot of the education that I try to give to kids is kind of how I approach my game days and how I approach my hard training days, and kind of the little tips and tricks that I give or that I use to help me go out there and perform at my best. And so much of it stems around Dexcom. Honestly, I mean, it's it's a little bit tough as a diabetic. Your whole pregame routine, obviously, you just want to be focusing on the game and what you have to go out there and do to be the best player that you can be. But for me, really, the main focus going into a game is making sure my levels are in the right spot. Because if they're not, you're not going to be able to go out there and perform at your best and help your teammates. And so like having the Dexcom, having the peace of mind of knowing exactly what your blood glucose levels are going into the game has been an absolute game changer for me. And so I always recommend the Dexcom to the kids that I speak to, the G7. And I just try to give them little tips and tricks of how to approach these game days, and hopefully something that I say resonates with them, and they're able to take that into their own lives. So that's kind of the education aspect of the foundation.
Yeah, so inspire. You're talking to a 9-year-old Jordan Morris who's seen so much now. What are you telling? What are you telling that young Jordan Morris?
The main message is just, and I always say this, is type 1's not going to hold you back from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. When you're newly diagnosed, it's so overwhelming, and so much is going through your head. And there were times in my head where I doubted whether or not I'd be able to get to where I am. I always told myself, I wasn't going to let it hold me back from getting there. But there were moments where doubt would creep in. There's days that are really, really challenging. And even still today, I mean, before the Galaxy game, my blood sugar, my blood glucose levels were completely out of sync, and I wasn't feeling great in warm ups. First 10 minutes, I wasn't feeling great. So there's still some challenges that the Type 1 provides, but with the technology that we have, with the Dexcom out there, with a lot of hard work and managing your levels. I just tell these kids, and hopefully it resonates with them, that it's not going to hold you back from accomplishing what you want to accomplish if you really work hard. So that's my main goal with the inspiration aspect. Is doesn't have to be a professional athlete. Whatever they want to do in their lives, they can accomplish it.
That rocks, yeah. And I think we jump into outreach. Clearly, what you're doing right now is talking about your lived experience, and talking about the Dexcom and how like simple that has made your daily routine. But what other initiatives are you working on to do more outreach?
The other big the other big one that we do is we do a big soccer camp every summer, which is awesome. Dexcom is a sponsor of that, so we work closely together. And then my childhood club grew up playing at Eastside. They host the camp out at Preston, so it's pretty cool, pretty full circle moment for me to have my childhood club hosting. My first coach at Eastside, Chance Fry, he's out there helping to put the camp on, and so we have this big camp every year. It's usually 100 to 150 kids between maybe 7 and 15 come out, and we have a full day of soccer. But what's pretty cool for me is I was always the only diabetic on my teams. I would have to, back when I was, checking my blood glucose the old-fashioned way and poking my finger, I would have to go take a break by myself, run off to the sideline, poke my finger, and then come back in. But at this camp, I remember the first time we hosted it during the break, there were 100 and 110, 115 kids, all ran over, checked their blood sugar. Just seeing that other kids are going through the same thing as you, having that sense of community that it builds, making friends with type 1. That's the point of that camp. It's not really a soccer camp. You don't have to play soccer. It's more about building that community and just knowing that other people are going through the same thing as you. So I would say that and the Playmaker program are the two big initiatives that we have.
That rocks. I mean, Eastside was a rival of mine back in my youth soccer
Did
days,
you
but
play?
we love it.
Where did you play?
I played for Cascade FC. Very,
Okay.
very, yeah, very not super well known, but you know what? We see where we are. I got the mic, you got the ball. So
No, those rivalries run deep still, man. They run deep, so it's
no,
good.
we love it. And we love having you here in Seattle. I mean, I don't know if you get asked this enough, but you you chose Seattle to be your home because of plenty of different reasons, but we talk about a lot on the podcast how easy it is to love the Sounders just because of how many local homegrown players are from here, and like you can feel the culture of the city and this community through this club. I don't know if you've talked about it much, but you know, not necessarily the decision, but like over the long term, how much have you been like, wow, I'm so glad that like this is where I'm at?
A lot was made about my decision, obviously, and I always maintain that I'm so happy and thankful for the career that I've had. I have absolutely no regrets. Some unfortunate moments where, yeah, I tried to end up going overseas and tear my ACL in one of the first couple games, like things like that. It's just part of the deal that things like that happen. But overall, yeah, I'm so happy with and thankful for the career that I've had and the decisions that I've made growing up in Seattle, playing for the academy. Watching all these games and being a fan first, I think makes playing for the club so incredibly special. I was a ball boy for games. My dad was the team doctor when they were in the USL, so I remember going to, maybe was it 2006 when they won the USL championship at Starfire. I remember being at that game. I've just been a fan for so long, and I remember sitting in the stands at that first game when they came up to MLS and played against the Red Bulls, and just knowing that I wanted to be on that field someday. And now to have been on the field and won some trophies and some big trophies, and to be a part of some special teams, and it's still a dream come true. I never take it for granted. Every time I walk on the field in front of our fans and get to play in front of my friends and family, get to play in front of my son now. It's everything happens for a reason. And if I chose a different path, I wouldn't, have my, be married to my wife. I wouldn't have Theo. There's so many things in my life that wouldn't be there if I had chosen a different path. So I just, wake up every day grateful for the path that I did choose, and it's been an awesome ride so far, and more to accomplish for sure in Seattle. We like I said, guys were hungry after losing that last game. We know we could have accomplished more. So heading into these next few years, I know that the team and myself lot more still on the table to accomplish, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of going into the future and next things to accomplish, obviously you saw the Club World Cup draw. You've seen what people are saying about it. I kind of want to know how excited you and the rest of the guys are to play in these massive matches.
Yeah,
Um, and you earned this spot.
yeah,
You earned the spot to play against these teams.
yeah, for sure. I mean, guys are so excited. Yeah, when the draw happened, I was with Christian actually. We were on a little golf trip recently, so we were able to kind of look at it together, and it's pretty exciting. Like you mentioned, we earned it. We earned this opportunity to be in another Club World Cup, and I mean, how many players in their career can say they played in one Club World Cup, let alone two Club World Cups? It's a pretty incredible accomplishment for this group and this team, and um, but to be able to host these three games for us as players, I think is exciting. To be able to play against teams of that caliber is incredibly exciting. But for the city and for the fans to be able to see their team, in competitive, they'd have friendlies against teams like this in the past, but to see their team in competitive matches against teams like this, I think is going to be so exciting for the city and for the fan base in Seattle. So guys are really looking forward to it. I can tell you that we got some games to play, but before that comes up. But I think that'll be in the back of the mind, back of all of our minds heading into the season is how much we're looking forward
Yeah, no,
to those
absolutely.
matches. Yeah.
Do you have a specific match that you're super stoked for, or a potential opponent that you're like, I would love a crack at them?
I mean, PSG is going to be that's going to be incredible. That's what a matchup that'll be. I think just going back to the last Club World Cup, everyone was excited to try to get there that game and play against Madrid. So if that happened, that'd be cool. But I mean, all of our group games are exciting. I think if I had to choose one, the PSG game will be pretty insane. So we're yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone's excited. Just soccer in general. You get 6 amazing matches in Seattle, and then
Yeah,
next year we've got the World Cup here. I mean, it's
yeah,
like, what more could you want? Um, yeah, I mean, well, and right now also we've got the Champions League draw is about to happen, and who knows? It's CONCACAF. Who knows when they're
yeah.
gonna actually do it? But supposedly happening right now,
Okay.
which is exciting.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a lot of games, and I think that we can kind of tie this into both topics here. Is like managing that many games. That's probably pretty challenging, and making sure that you stay on it with your glucose and eating healthy and things like
yeah.
that. What are some of your strategies with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the whole group coming off a long year this year, heading into next year, we were talking about it. Yeah, just without advancing in any of these tournaments, how many games we had, and then hopefully we play well and advance in these tournaments and get the opportunity to play in even more games. But it's going to be pretty incredible next year how many games we have. So we've always been fortunate in Seattle the depth that we have as a team. We're confident that whoever we put on the field can step up and obviously fill in and do their part. So we're going to need everyone going into next year, and it's exciting. And, we all talk about it. You don't want to be training; you want to be playing in games. So to have more games, to have those opportunities is going to be really fun. But yeah, just to manage that again with wearing my Dexcom and during travel days, so much of what's important as an athlete is how you recover. And oh, my little guy's walking up to the door. Sorry, hi, buddy. So much of kind of being an athlete and is oh my goodness. One second, I'm so
You're
sorry.
good. Take your time.
Hi, buddy. Hi. Okay. um, yeah, so much of being an athlete is how you recover and with the kind of amount of travel that we're going to have and potentially the small amount of time between games. It's just even more important for the whole group, but for me especially as a diabetic, really leaning on the technology I have, the Dexcom to dial in and make sure that my glucose is in the right spot, because as important as that is going into a game, it's just as important after a game, making sure my levels are good to be able to recover it and sleep, at the optimal level to be able to get ready for next game. So just really leaning on that. Like I mentioned before, leaning on the support group that I have to make sure I'm in the best shape that I can be going into next year and going into this fixture congestion. But for the most part, we're all really excited about it because they're really cool opportunities, and to be in Champions League again, to have that opportunity to try and win that trophy again would be really special. So we're excited.
Well, we're excited to ride along with you, Jordan. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to plug or that you want to share before we head out?
No, man. I think all good. Just excited for a little time off and ready to get going again next year. So.
How much golf are you going to play? That's the question.
A lot, hopefully.
Good.
A lot. Yeah, that's man. That's the addiction right now is golf. So I need to get better. That's for sure. But
well, there you go.
A lot, so.
There we go. We need, what we need? We need a round with Jordan Morris. Someone on the Sounders team put that together. That would be a fun.
Love it. We should do a little there's a few golfers on the team who get pretty competitive. We should do a behind the scenes thing like that.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to some people. We'll get it done.
All right. Thank you so much, Jordan Morris, everyone. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, dude.